Welcome back to the Good World channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is continuing to squeeze up against this crucial area of resistance in the immediate short term, getting extremely close right now to a new breakout towards new price targets as we're continuing to see more and more liquidity build just above the price of Bitcoin, which is something that we cannot ignore. So I'll be talking about that in just a moment, alongside Ethereum continuing to hold above and bounce from this crucial area of support here, while the price of Solana is also now potentially attempting a breakout, getting extremely close to possibly confirming a breakout here in the immediate short term, setting up new price targets and trading opportunities. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, just before taking a look at the Bitcoin and crypto charts today, taking a quick look at, of course, how the SpaceX IPO ended up going, because obviously just yesterday we saw the largest IPO in history take place, which was, of course, the SpaceX IPO. And just giving you a really quick update, obviously, at least on the IPO day, it performed extremely well. A massive pump. If you bought at the IPO price, you made an extreme amount of money right now on the IPO day. And so when pretty much everyone else out there was saying that this is going to crash on the IPO day and just be a massive sell the news event, it actually pumped massively. In fact, if we're measuring from the IPO price, if you bought at the IPO price of around $135 per share to the candle close right here, so the end of the trading day, that was up about 19%, or from the IPO price to the actual high during the day, that was over a 30% move up. And so obviously on this IPO day just yesterday, a lot of people, especially Elon, made a massive amount of money, but obviously many other investors and also employees of SpaceX made a lot of money, which means a lot of this money is potentially going to rotate into some other assets in the coming weeks and months, as we potentially see a bit more of a correction within the coming weeks in the share price of SpaceX. And so even though I said yesterday, even though I predicted yesterday that we're most likely going to see a bullish IPO day, a pump across the markets due to the massive amount of hype for this IPO and due to the massive amount of demand for this IPO, even though of course that is perfectly played out as expected, even though everyone else out there was saying the opposite, I am now predicting in the coming weeks we're most likely going to see a lot of this hype actually cool off, and most likely going to see a bit of a sell-off in the coming weeks and months in the share price of SpaceX, due to of course more unlocks happening and potentially more sell pressure, and of course potentially just a lot of profit taking from this massive IPO day. A lot of people made a lot of money here, which means potentially some people, some of those investors are going to be taking profits and rotating those profits into other investments. And so that is my prediction in the coming weeks. Do not be surprised if we see some sort of cool off and correction in the coming weeks and months for the share price of SpaceX, but that's potentially some good news for other assets, especially large tech stocks and potentially the crypto market, as a lot of this money right here heading into the SpaceX shares, of course, is the kind of capital that is also going to be chasing tech stocks and perhaps crypto. And so just watch out for that capital rotation in the coming weeks and months. Most likely a lot of capital once again rotating out of SpaceX into potentially large cap tech stocks and possibly crypto, especially larger cryptos like Bitcoin, for example, in the coming weeks or months. Watch out for that. That is my prediction moving forward. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin charts today, looking at the weekly Bitcoin price chart, obviously the super trend indicator is still sitting in the red, as we could see, but we're still forming a massive bullish divergence in the weekly Bitcoin RSI between the price and the RSI, as we could see, showing a very similar signal at the moment compared to what we saw near the end of the 2022 bear market, a generational buying opportunity for long-term holders. Keep that in mind. As always, not financial advice, and of course this is not a short-term signal, this is more of a longer-term signal to watch out for. Not yet confirmed, but could confirm in the coming weeks or months for the price of Bitcoin. And if we're taking a look at the 3-day Bitcoin price chart, right now the price of Bitcoin is continuing to perfectly bounce from this level of support at around $60,000. So continue to expect support at 60K. And of course, we also have this lower area of support here if we were to break below 60K eventually, which is sitting in between around 53,000 to 55,000 approximately. So give or take 54,000. That is a key level of support to pay attention to based on previous price action back in 2020 2024. But of course, my exact prediction for the last week now, ever since we saw that massive dump over the last couple of weeks, since basically we saw this bounce at give or take 60,000, and of course, ever since we hit oversold, especially here at the 3-day Bitcoin RSI, my prediction since then, so over a week ago now, has been basically a slight bounce, a slight bullish relief from this support, or perhaps just a bit of choppy sideways price action here and there, basically holding above this low. This is likely the local low that will remain the low at least for a number of days or weeks, possibly even a month or so, but at least over the next few weeks, that sort of time frame, we're likely going to hold above this low. Not necessarily the bottom forever. It's possible that at some stage in the future we go lower below that low, but at least over the coming weeks, I do expect the price to hold above this low and continue a bit more of a relief here, resetting away from oversold and bouncing from support. And so far over the last 1 week, that has been playing out exactly as predicted a week ago now on the channel, and I continue to expect that prediction to continue to play out in the coming weeks. And if we're taking a look at the 12-hour Bitcoin price chart, having a slight adjustment on some of these areas here, of course, we have this area of support in between around 60,500 to 61,000, and we have an area of resistance based on previous support to watch out for in between 65.5k to 66,000. So that's the next major area of resistance to watch out for. And of course, we're well and truly playing out this oversold signal exactly as predicted a week ago now on the channel, resetting away from oversold here in the RSI, which means we're most likely going to continue either a bit more of a bullish relief or perhaps just a bit more choppy sideways price action like this in somewhat of a range. But what could potentially help with more of a bullish relief in the shorter term towards new bullish price targets is of course this potential double bottom pattern, also known as a W pattern, which right now, as recording this video, we're pretty much attempting a breakout. We're right on the edge of breaking out here. Not yet confirmed, I want to make that clear, but getting extremely close to possibly confirming a breakout above this important level of resistance that's clearly been acting as an important level of resistance for roughly a week now, give or take, since basically even before we bottomed out, at least temporarily hitting a temporary local bottom, local low for the price. But before we hit that low, obviously, we were still finding resistance at this exact level. And in case you're new to the channel, this level is sitting at around 63.8k approximately. And as we could see, we've not yet fully confirmed any 4-hour candle closes actually above this level and holding above this level. But right now we're getting extremely close. And the good news is over the last 1 to 2 days, as the price has been running into this resistance, testing this resistance, we're not really seeing any strong rejection of this resistance like what we saw back here. Of course, we tested the point of resistance and then saw a clear rejection, failing to see any breakout attempt. Whereas this time around, as we're running into the resistance, we're continuing to push up against the resistance as we're continuing to form higher lows, which is very bullish price structure. This shows a lot of demand, and this is actually helping to weaken the resistance. Because in case you're new to all of this, what resistance actually is, it's basically just a bunch of sell orders. It's people wanting to sell, in this case, Bitcoin at this particular price level. Perhaps they place a bunch of limit orders, for example, and just basically there's a lot of sell orders, also known as a sell wall. And right now we're weakening those sell orders, essentially all of the buyers that are continuing to push the price up against that resistance. A lot of these buyers are just buying up a lot of the sell orders that are at these levels. And eventually, if we continue to press up against this resistance, eventually those sell orders will likely run out at some stage, which means eventually we could see a breakout here. That's what this price structure actually means, fundamentally speaking. And so if we're taking a look at the technical price target for this possible double bottom pattern or W pattern, if we confirm the breakout, once again, not yet fully confirmed, but getting very close. But if we confirm the breakout, ideally above around 64,000, this level right here, and actually holding above that level to keep the breakout active, in that situation, the technical price target is sitting at around 67.7k approximately. So from the point of the breakout to that price target, we're talking about around a 6% move towards the upside, and that's with no leverage. So for example, a 10x leverage long position in that case would be about a 60% profit. So a massive opportunity here. As always, not financial advice. That's just an example of a potential trading opportunity waiting to confirm on the price chart. But remember, the point of invalidation would be if we break out above this resistance and then fail to hold above that level. So for example, if we break out and then break back to the downside below around 63.8k, that would invalidate the breakout, therefore invalidating the pattern and the price target. And as always, even if we have a technical price target in play, even if we confirm this breakout, activating the technical price target, we cannot ignore other points of resistance along the way where the price could possibly struggle at or possibly even reject from. For example, this area that I mentioned a moment ago on the 12-hour time frame in between 65.5k to 66,000. Previously, that was a significant area of support, flipping into new resistance, which on this chart is sitting right around here. So roughly at the halfway point between the breakout and this technical price target, which means, of course, even if we confirm this breakout, watch out for that level because we could possibly still struggle, possibly even reject from that level based on strong resistance around here. So with a potential trading opportunity like this, an example of a trading strategy, not financial advice, would be, let's just say if we open a long once we see confirmation of this breakout and then have a stop loss below the point of invalidation, potentially one take profit would be just before we hit this major resistance here in case we start to see a lot of struggle around that resistance. One take profit just before that resistance, and then another take profit just before this price target here in case we break out through this resistance and just head up towards the price target. Once again, we can take more profits there. But in my personal trading strategy over the years, I tend to not close the entire trade at any one level. Even if we hit this price target, I'll still keep some of the trade open, a small portion of the trade open in case the price were to just keep pumping. And then I'll slowly move the stop loss further and further into profits as the trade moves further into profits. And so once again, not financial advice. I'm just sharing examples of possible trading strategies and of course, letting you know in advance what I'm potentially looking at doing myself with my own money with these sort of opportunities on the chart here. And of course, if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, we still have a massive amount of liquidity building just above the price of Bitcoin in the immediate short term, which is sitting at around 64,500. So of course, that's just above this resistance here. Remember, the resistance is just under 64,000 and the liquidity at around 64,500 right here, which means there's a very high probability, as always, no guarantees, but a very high probability that we'll likely see a bullish move, at least towards that liquidity, to wipe out that liquidity. And then it comes a question of actually confirming candle closes above this resistance and holding above this level to continue the breakout towards this price target. And so overall, those are my exact expectations, predictions, key levels, price targets, and trading strategies to watch out for in the short term, midterm, and longer term for the price of Bitcoin. And of course, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of Bitcoin or any crypto, you need to be set up ready to go on a crypto exchange. And if you use the first link below the video in the description and in the pinned comment, that first link below this video will take you to this page right here over on the Week's crypto exchange, which by the way is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access this platform from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. And simply just by using that first link below the video to actually make your Week's account, you can take advantage of up to a 1 million USDT prize pool up for grabs, which by the way is only available for another day approximately, and is only available if you're using that first link below the video to actually make your Week's account. Unfortunately, if you don't use that link to make your account, you cannot take advantage of any of this prize pool here, which by the way is essentially free money into your Week's account just by completing your trades over on Week's. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well be trading over here using that first link below the video to take advantage of these major bonuses. And remember, Week's is also a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a quick look at the Bitcoin dominance chart on the 3-day time frame, and right now we're continuing to see a bit of a short-term bounce in the Bitcoin dominance, which means the Bitcoin price is likely, at least for now, slightly outperforming some of the major altcoins, which means, for example, in the case of this breakout, Bitcoin might be the leading indicator compared to some other altcoins, possibly lagging behind Bitcoin. But overall, because we're not really seeing a massive movement in the Bitcoin dominance, a lot of altcoins are still likely going to perform somewhat similar to whatever Bitcoin does, not necessarily much better or much worse. And if we're taking a look at Ethereum on the 3-day time frame, we're continuing to simply just hold above this massive area of support here, still sitting in between 1.5k to 1.6k. We're also continuing to play out this oversold signal in the 3-day Ethereum RSI. And right now, we're still actually very close to oversold in the 3-day Ethereum RSI, which means we still have a lot more time to go, a lot more room to actually see more of a reset in the coming days or weeks as a very likely scenario. Remember, not necessarily a bottom signal, not necessarily expecting a massive high momentum movement towards the upside or anything like that, but at least a slight bullish relief, something like this, or potentially just some more choppy sideways price action in the coming days or weeks is ultimately my prediction moving forward for Ethereum. Not much changed here over the last one day. And remember, the short-term moves are likely going to follow very similar price action to whatever Bitcoin does in the short term. And so without repeating myself anymore, without wasting any more time, getting straight into the next crypto, which is of course XRP. Taking a look at the weekly time frame, we're still technically within the longer term bearish trend. We've not yet fully confirmed any massive reversal signal or bottom signal to end the larger bearish trend, also known as the bear market. But for now, at least in the somewhat shorter term relative to this time frame, we are holding this major level of support here at around $1.13. But if we eventually break below $1.13 in that situation, if we see confirmation of a break below $1.13 and fail to get back above that level, in that situation, the next target would be sitting at just below $1, really in between 90 cents to $1. And if we break below that level, then I'll be targeting around 70 cents as a massive bearish price target. But remember, at least for now, we're still holding that $1.13 level as support. And if we're taking a look at the short-term moves, XRP here on the 4-hour time frame is also forming a potential W pattern or double bottom pattern, which clearly right now XRP is simply lagging behind Bitcoin. Bitcoin is basically completing the pattern, almost confirming the breakout as of recording this video, whereas XRP still has a little more room to go to even complete the formation phase, let alone confirming the breakout. And so this is at least something to watch out for in the coming days for the price of XRP, especially if Bitcoin confirms this breakout. Then that would significantly increase the probability that XRP will continue to form this price pattern and possibly see a breakout of its own. But also keep in mind that at least for now, XRP is one of those major altcoins that at least for now is underperforming Bitcoin. But with that being said, taking a quick look at the price of Solana on the 3-day time frame, and right now technically we've not yet fully confirmed the end of the larger bearish trend, but at least for now we're still playing out this massive bullish divergence on the 3-day Solana price chart between these two significant lows in the price. Of course, lower lows in the price, higher lows in the RSI, which is still actively playing out here, which means we're likely in the coming weeks, we're likely going to continue more of a bullish relief, just a slight bullish relief, or maybe at worst some choppy sideways price action kind of like this as a very likely scenario in the coming weeks for the price of Solana. But remember, I'm not saying a massive amount of bullish momentum like this, just a slight bullish relief, quite likely in the somewhat shorter term here in the coming weeks for Solana. And if we're taking a look at the 4-hour Solana price chart right now, as of recording this video, the price of Solana is possibly now attempting a breakout above this crucial level of resistance here to possibly very soon confirm this breakout for this W pattern, also known as a double bottom pattern, activating a new bullish price target. But I want to make it clear, at least as of recording this video, we've not yet fully confirmed the breakout, and this line of resistance, in case you're new to the channel, in case you missed my last video, this breakout level, this line of resistance is sitting at around $67.50. But like I mentioned in my last video, ideally I'd like to see the breakout above around $68 and actually hold above that level to be a bit more confident that we're really breaking out here, and of course heading towards this bullish price target, which, in case you're wondering, in case you missed my last video, this bullish price target, if we confirm the breakout and hold that breakout level, is sitting at around $74, very close to $74. So from where we are right now, roughly around the breakout to that price target, that's about a 9% move towards the upside with no leverage. So for example, a 10x leverage long position would be about a 90% profit in that case, almost doubling your money. And obviously that's just an example of a potential trading opportunity. As always, not financial advice. And as always, of course, if we confirm the breakout and then break back below the point of the breakout here, then that would invalidate the breakout, therefore invalidating the price target and the trading pattern, the trading opportunity. And so when it comes to the certain trading strategy to watch out for and potentially implement moving forward, at least in my situation, it'd basically be a very similar strategy as what I explained a moment ago for Bitcoin, with the same sort of price pattern that we're seeing at the moment in the short term for both Bitcoin and Solana, as we can see here on the 4-hour time frame. But once again, not financial advice. I'm just letting you know in advance what I'm potentially looking at doing myself with my own money. And if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the 3-day time frame, of course, Chainlink is also in a somewhat similar situation as Solana on the 3-day time frame, because we're playing out a massive bullish divergence, which is already confirmed now already playing out, but we've not yet fully confirmed the end of the larger bearish trend. But at least in the coming weeks, I continue to predict a bit more of a bullish relief into this area right here, and then struggling a lot around this area. And so far over the last 1 week, that's exactly what has been playing out as predicted a week ago now on the channel. And I continue to expect that prediction to continue to play out over the next 1 to 2 weeks, at least, possibly longer, but at least the next 1 or 2 weeks, we're likely going to continue to press up against this resistance, but struggle a lot in this area, which, in case you're wondering, this area I'm talking about is at around $8 to $8.50. And in terms of the very short-term moves, Chainlink will likely follow somewhat similar price action in the very short term as to what Bitcoin does here in the short term. So keep that in mind. Those are still my exact predictions and key levels and signals to watch out for moving forward for all of these crypto assets. And remember, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, check out the links below this video to those crypto exchanges if you want to take advantage of massive bonuses and also fee discounts and things like that that are only available using the links below this video to those exchanges in the description and in the pinned comments. And of course, if you want to know how you can take these sort of trades, no matter what direction the price is going, to profit at all times in the market, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen, because the video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next video.